Hello and welcome. Today we're going to look at how to repair a loose wing on a wing back reclining chair. There's our loose wing, and this happens to be off of a Lazy Boy recliner, but these same principles will hold on most any recliner. So it's not just a Lazy Boy procedure that we're going to do here. So the first step is going to be to remove the staples that hold the outside back on both sides. And when we get to the sides here over the wings, there's a metal tack strip that we're going to have to remove so that we can expose the back and view the entire back frame, not only repair this wing, but also make sure the rest of the frame is in good shape. So before I get started, I want to show you what the metal tack strip looks like. The way this works, on the back side, the smooth edge, the back panel goes over this, wraps around, and is actually pierced on the spikes here to hold it in place. And that's what gives it its smooth appearance and gets the wrinkles out. Then once it's attached, the tack strip and the fabric around it is driven into the frame along the wings here. Now most of the time, you can carefully remove these. I use a tack puller to start lifting the ends and lifting the spikes. And if you carefully remove these, you can often reuse them. But if the tack strip was damaged when it was installed, or if you knurl it up too much when you remove it, you'll have to put in a new piece of tack strip, and you'll have to cut it to length, and you can simply use some side cuts, some metal shears to do that. Okay, let's get started. Alright, of course there are a number of different tools you can use to remove staples. I just tend to use oftentimes a tack puller and a little hammer. Okay, so I have the bottom loose. I'm going to work my way over here and start on the tack strips on the wing. And as I mentioned, you just want to be careful and use something that's thin and can get underneath the tack strip without damaging the material. And then just carefully lift as you go. So there, you can get a look at the tack strip when it's installed in the panel and what that looks like. So I'll do the other side. Okay. Once you have it loose, carefully lay it back to expose the frame. You know what? I think I'm going to remove those tack strips so I don't have to worry about them. See, here you can get a good look at some of them will be bent, and you'll just straighten them with pliers. And this tack strip is still in very good shape. It can be reused. Okay. Now we've got both of them out. All right, you can see back here, here's the separation in the wing frame. What I'm going to do is remove a little bit more of this fabric here. And then we're going to see about clipping off these framing staples here that are still kind of hanging on a bit. I'm also going to expose the top here a little bit, take some of this fabric loose so I can see better this connection here and what needs to be done at this end. Okay, at the top here, I was loosening the fabric so that I could get a better view at the joint and getting fasteners in there. And they have a little cardboard strip here that's designed to hold, or to have the fabric on the wing tucked in behind or on top. So I'm going to mark the position of this little cardboard bracket. So when I loosen it or remove it, I can reinstall it in the same position. Okay. Now in this corner here, since it's a plywood joint, I don't want to come in from this frame board here directly into the plywood here because it's going to split it, so I want to come up at an angle. So I've just uncovered enough material so that I can pre-drill a hole and run my fastener up into the corner to hold the top of this wing in place. And on the bottom here, I have some difficult to show, there we go. Some framing staples and glue residue to remove to prep this before we fasten it. So I'm just going to use some needle nose pliers to remove the framing staples by twisting them off. Just hammering in the ends of the staples that remained in the wood so I can sand down the old glue. Okay. The next step is going to be to line up this joint, glue it, clamp it into position, and then we'll drill pilot holes to add a couple of fasteners in both locations. This joint at the top here, actually the framing staples are still in place, Yeah, I'm not going to be able to see that well. It's just separated. So I'm going to leave those framing staples in this corner, get some glue in here, and then we're going to clamp it and pull it together before we add a fastener. So I'll start by setting the bottom. It's always a good idea to have something catch your glue if it rolls out along the bottom of the joint. I just use paper towels, just something in there to catch it. Okay, so there I've got the joint glued, and you can see I've got my clamp up just a little bit, so there's room for me to add my fasteners. But again, since we have plywood here, I'm going to go above and come in at a bit of an angle to fasten this wing. I'll do the same thing at the top. All right, now we'll drill some pilot holes. I use normal deck screws, wood screws. I'm going to use a larger bit to countersink the screw head. All right, so we've got the wing set over here, glued, clamped, and fastened. We're going to let that sit overnight to let the glue set up. What I like to do whenever I do a wing repair is check the other side, of course, and it looks good, but I like to add a fastener to give it a little extra holding power. Now, what was interesting on this particular job, over here our joints were plywood. Over here, this little block was particle board. So the method for fastening this is a little bit different. So to see an overview of these different materials and how to fasten them properly, I'm going to provide a link to my repairing a loose lane recliner arm video where I cover that topic, so be sure to check it out. It's toward the end of the video. And finally, what you always want to do on any frame repair, when you have this much of the frame exposed, is check everything before you finish up. And on Lazy Boys, what's important to check is this alignment here, where the back brackets attach on either side. This board here needs to be perpendicular to this back frame board. Now, I didn't take loose this fabric here to have a look, but I could see from the inside that both joints are in very good shape, so we're good to go. We'll let it set up overnight. We'll put it together tomorrow. All right, so we've let the glue set up overnight. I went ahead and removed the clamps. Also started reattaching a little bit of the upholstery, but what I wanted to show you today was how to reinstall these metal tack strips. I know upholstery work can be intimidating for some people, but in this case, if you straighten out the strips and reuse the original holes, it's not quite as intimidating as you might think. So let's walk through that process here. What you'll need to put the tack strips back in is a mallet, and you'll want to put some tape over one end so that you don't get any black marks on your upholstery. Just want to start by lining up the original holes. Stretch out your panel. And carefully put them all back in their original position. Okay, and once you get them back in place, I've already done the other side. Just want to carefully turn it over. Now the last little trick is you want to just get each strip started on each side so you can make sure the position of your panel is correct before fastening them all the way. Okay, that looks good, so I'll go ahead and permanently attach it. All right, so we've got the two tack strips back in place. To finish the job, we're just going to staple on the bottom of this panel here, and we're all set. So that's it for this repair. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.